Hello Penguinauts and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Space Race, a series in which I am racing Tape to the secrets of the warp drive. Now, last episode we did some pretty interesting things. We bought a base in the Arctic, and Tape actually tried to compete with us but ended up doing worse than us, considering that he had a pretty failed flight of a rocket plane. But I'm pretty sure next turn he'll more than make up for it, because I'm not planning to make a rocket plane, and I'm sure he's going to keep trying until he gets some kind of SSTO. But anyway, we're not starting with rockets this turn, because we are going to the moon. Yes, we have the technology. If you get that reference, please put a comment below, because you're awesome. Anyway, we don't have the technology to land on the moon, but we do have the technology to fly by the moon, and we've got some contracts to do with that. So we're going to be upgrading the launch pad, going to be upgrading the VAB, we're going to do some moon flybys and some cool stuff. But I would very much like to have as many parts as possible for that, so I'd like to get more science and just do the plane missions first, because have as much science, as much funds, and basically just make sure we're well prepared, because we don't want to end up being stranded out in lunar orbit. That would be really, really bad. So we've got a few little plane contracts, and so we're going to launch 3 little planes. We're not going to upgrade the runway or the space plane hangar just yet, so we're going to launch 3 little planes, do some little missions, and get a bit more money. So you probably noticed that the birds chirping and stuff at the menu was a little bit loud, and that's because my microphone kind of messed up a little bit. I had to unplug it and replug it a little while back when I installed my new graphics card, and for some reason that set it to 1/10 of the volume. So the noise of the engines and stuff completely drowned out my voice. So most of this video is going to be in post commentary. Anyway, we just had a contract to go fly to some different regions, one of which was actually called Manly's region, and get some crew reports. So all very simple stuff. We're flying a new plane called the Robin. That's mainly because the inline cockpit that we used before for the Starling, that was an experimental part, and we haven't actually unlocked the node yet, so we can't use it again. So I just made this little plane here, and we just used it sort of as a little bit of a workhorse for this episode. So we just took off from KSC Island, obviously, and we're just flying, doing a few little contracts. We've also got a weird little contract. We have to take some EVA reports on the ground near the KSC. So instead of coming down and landing on the runway, which is really bumpy anyway, I decided to land over by where they are to save me having to walk all the way over there. But I had a few engine problems. Since the engines are mounted quite high up, I had some trouble pulling up with this plane. I didn't put the wings far enough forward, and I had a little bit of trouble landing, and we blew off the engines, but they only cost 400 funds each, so not too much of a problem. Anyway, we launched again, and this time we had a little Juno engine because we had another contract to test it, and I didn't realise I hadn't activated the other 2 engines because I had weird staging. So I was like, why is my plane stalling? And then I realised, oh right, yeah, you haven't actually turned on the main engines. That would probably help. So this one was just a fly quite a way, actually, up the main, I guess, Clotho continent, and take a temperature reading, and then we just fly back as usual and don't land on the runway because it is way too bumpy, and I should probably upgrade it, but we had to spend a lot of money this turn on upgrading facilities, and frankly it was the last of my priorities. So this last one, we're actually launching from Round Range, which is on the opposite side of the planet to the KSC, and it's a pretty significant base, actually. This was to take some temperature readings, I believe, from some different regions nearby, and it only cost us 25,000 to open the base, surprisingly. Considering that the North Pole Station actually took, was it 125,000 funds, and I guess it's probably because that's in a far more remote location, and obviously, so Round Range is far more accessible. And I think it is crew reports, actually. Yeah, it's crew reports, not temperature. It's all the same. It's all the same. Maybe I'm wrong, but as you can see, we're actually using the Weasley engine because we had another contract to test the Weasley, which is very nice. Which meant we could cut the part count down and do quite a lot of science, actually. So yep, as you see, we're just coming back in. I considered landing on the mountains to try and get the science, but I thought, well, I'm gonna have to land on them again to get a surface sample and upgrade R&D, and no, just no, really, not going to attempt that. So pretty good landing, but as usual, these brakes always fail me, and we fly off the end of the runway. But nothing breaks this time. So we've got 26 science from our little trip. We've got about almost 100,000 can't speak. almost 100,000 funds, but obviously we spent 25,000 on the base, so not quite 100,000. But there we go. I think we can head into R&D, and 180 science, which means we can get 2 of these nodes. Now, we're heading to the moon. We're going to need electricity, because we're going to need to obviously keep our Kerbals alive on the way there. So yes, definitely electrics. Anything else? Miniaturization, we do not need that. Barometer, I know you can use it in space now. It just has a go at you for using it in space. Air brakes, that's... No, we don't really need all that stuff. Landing, we're not going to be landing though. Is that a heat... Was that a heat shield I saw? That is a heat shield. More plane stuff? Well, we're going into space, so... No. Fuel systems, that could be useful, considering we've got the skipper engine to test, I think. Saying that, we have some crew missions to do. You know, we'll get more than 45 science from the moon, so that's fine. Now, we'll get one of these, something that will help us get to the moon. Propulsion systems, these are only tiny ones. Heavy rocketry, the skipper. Oh, that's going to be helpful. And the poodle, actually. Saying that, we're only going to be launching little ones. And we've got to test the skipper anyway. We've got a contract for testing it, so we can use the skipper anyway. So, yeah, and saying that, we need the Rockomax fuel tanks to test that engine anyway. So, yeah. There we go, we'll get fuel systems. So in order to get to the moon, we're going to need to upgrade a couple of things. First up, the launch pad. So now we can launch level 2 things, but we also need, obviously, a level 2 vehicle assembly building, so we can have more parts and basic action groups. Also, we'd very much like to do an EVA while we're out there by the moon, so we're going to upgrade the astronaut complex. So we've spent almost 400,000 funds on upgrading those buildings, but I'm pretty sure our contracts and stuff, we will make it back. And besides, I've been really careful with my money. We do need to spend it. 150 for patch conics. Oh, it can never hurt to have patch conics. We are just flying by the room. Saying that, it'd be nice to have a free return. So we're gonna go for patch conics. There you go. So we spent quite a lot of money. Yeah, so we can't upgrade that again, but it's fine because, well, I've never actually seen the second stage tracking station. It's quite cool actually. It's like half finished and stuff. And the second stage launch pad is also kind of cool actually. I'm used to seeing like the first stage stuff and the third stage stuff, but I'm not too used to seeing the second stage stuff, which is all cool. Anyway, let's go to the moon. And go to the moon we did in a spacecraft named Pioneer 1. They've probably noticed. Beardy, are those KW rocketry parts? Yes, indeed they are. We got the community fix, thank goodness. It looks a little bit weird because there's no adapter, but just shh. I see you there writing a comment. Shush. I see you. Stop. No, you wrote it. You wrote the comment. Why? Remove it. I'm going to remove that comment. Seriously. I'm looking at you. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. So, Pioneer 1, straight to the moon. Obviously, in real life, Pioneer program was to do with sending probes around the solar system. Obviously, Pioneer 10 was the first probe to go on a course outside the solar system, but it never... Oh, I don't think it has left the solar... It is going to leave the solar system anyway. But obviously, Voyager 1 overtook it and was the first man-made object to leave the solar system. But Pioneer 10 was actually the first to attempt it, I guess. So it gets a participation award. But anyway, we've taken some EVA reports and stuff, and we had to drag the skipper up, and we've actually tested the skipper. Actually, no, we didn't test the skipper. We tested it on the next launch. So we have the skipper engine because of experimental stuff, so we're testing it. But we didn't test it on this one. We didn't carry it up to the high enough altitude because we wanted to use it on the next launch without having to unlock the node, even though we unlocked the node anyway. So... yeah. So what I tried to do here is I wanted to seem intelligent, and I didn't know how far my fuel would get me, so I thought, you know what, I've got patched conics, let's go for a free return trajectory. And if you don't know what a free return is, it means you use the gravity of the moon to slingshot you back into an orbit that pulls you back into the atmosphere. So it means you don't have to do a course correction to come back. So you just do one burn, you go to the moon, and you come straight back into the atmosphere. They're really not that complicated. You know, they did them on the Apollo missions. If you've ever seen Apollo 13, they had a free return, but they went off the free return trajectory and they had to restore it with the lander engine because obviously the service module was critically damaged. But as we were going over, we kept going over different biomes. So I kept having to hop out and do EVA reports. But But anyway, so we really didn't need to do the free return thing because the amount of fuel this thing has is actually insane. I seriously did overbuild this thing to hell. I also overburnt there, so I had to turn the ship around, burn back the other way, and then I overburnt the other way, so I had to turn around again, and then burn back the other way. It's like, oh great, you overburnt again, Beardy. Good job, good job. So we only have a contract to fly by the moon. We're not planning to land on it. I mean, no. When we land on the moon, we want to do it properly. So we want to have the landing legs. Might do it Apollo style. That would be pretty cool. If maybe not entirely cost effective, it would be pretty awesome. And so we want to have all the landing legs. We want to have everything done properly. We do not want to be all science spammy and land on the moon and get every little centimeter per second of delta V out of it, you know, just posing for shots there. But yeah, we're just going for a nice little flyby, kind of. I've forgotten the name of the missions that did flyby. Was Apollo 8 a moon flyby? I have a feeling Apollo 8 was a moon flyby, but I might be wrong about that, so please do tell me in the comments below. And yeah, we did all of our science high above the moon, apart from the material study, which you get a lot more science doing it close to the moon. So I thought, just for the first one, we'll do the material study next to the moon so we can unlock enough technology to maybe improve it for the next launch when we do the material study high above the moon. And we also got some EVA reports over a couple of different biomes. So we didn't go into a polar orbit or anything. I just wanted to test that it worked. Didn't want to take any risks going to orbit, even though we had more than enough fuel. Just wanted to just be like, play it safe. Play it safe, just do our science, test that all the equipment works, and then we do more complicated missions. I mean, the Apollo missions were kind of similar. As you see there, the clouds were completely broken for some reason. I'm not entirely sure. When we got a little closer, they fixed themselves. But the Apollo missions are actually quite similar. Like Apollo 11, most people don't know, NASA were absolutely really, really strict on what they could do on the surface. They barely spent any time on the surface. They only went like 50 meters from the lander. You know, they played things really, really safe. But then on the later missions like Apollo 15, 16 and 17, they took a rover, they drove a couple of kilometers away, they spent much longer on the moon. You know, it's just about getting there, testing it works, and then refining it, and then, you know, making things better, then, you know, doing more stuff. But, you know, just making sure it's all cool. And I just been playing KSP for too long because I was looking at the radar altitude thing saying, oh, because I'm so used to parachutes opening at 500 meters and having to stop time warp, otherwise you rip your capsule apart. But obviously they fixed that ages ago. But I guess I've just played KSP for way too long. 286 science. Awesome. We only got a little bit refunded from recovered parts, but I think we earned quite a bit of money from our contracts. Oh my god, she got 2 XP. Yay, that's always nice because she went to the moon. Right, what can we unlock? We've got a lot of science. Oh my god. Let's get some more scientific instruments if we can. Space exploration. Barometer. Ooh. Barometer. I think you can use those in space actually now. Now it just sort of has a go at you for using them in space, but I think you can. Aerodynamics, nah, I don't need that yet. Propulsion, no. Skipper engine and all that stuff. We got the ooh. What's in advanced construct? Oh, we get adapters and stuff here. We should probably grab general construction. Yeah, we get adapters and stuff and make our rocket look like less of a moron. Okay, so I think we should get space exploration. That leads to more scientific instruments and stuff. I think. Does it lead to? Yeah, I'm just checking. That leads to ladders. More command modules. Where's the more scientific instruments? We get more solar arrays and stuff over here. But are there any more scientific instruments now I think about it? I don't think there are there? I don't know. Oh, whatever. Space exploration. Get the barometer. There we are. Advanced flight. RCS. Do we need RCS yet? No, we don't. Landing. We don't need 2.5 meter stuff. Advanced construction. That's all 2.5 meter stuff. It will be useful. But what do we need, like, immediately? Well, of course, we can't actually research anything else because we need to upgrade the R&D center. I'm thinking getting this is going to be a good idea. Yeah, having the SLS, not SLS, why am I saying SLS? The service propulsion system. Yeah, that's going to be good for when we land on the moon. but obviously we're not going to be landing for a little while. And maybe just for next time, get some better aircraft. There we go. Well, let's go to Minmus if we have a contract. No, we have a contract for rendezvousing 2 vessels in orbit. Well, we might do that with Tape. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Rendezvous one of our craft with one of Tape's craft. And that would be cool. Yeah, that would be awesome. But no, plant a flag on the moon, science data from space. Right? Why didn't you give us that last time? You biased. They're all for science data around the moon. So I think we should go back to the moon, to be honest, not Minmus. Yeah. Okay, science data from around the moon. Explore the moon. Achieve orbit. Space around the moon. No, we can't do that. Can't plant a flag either. I don't want to land this turn. Just want to get all the space science. Rescue this person from orbit. No. Temperature surveys in space flight. We could do that. Oh, with the amount of fuel we have, we could change our inclination and stuff. We could do this. Yeah. Hell yeah. Get a load of money. Let's do that one. So science data from space and conduct temperature surveys. Yeah, we can do that. Awesome. Test the Poodle engine. No. Third engine. Carrier, liquid fuel engine. I think that's going to be it for now. Yeah, let's go back and get more science. Test the skipper engine. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. And back to the moon we went with Pioneer 2, which looks a hell of a lot better than Pioneer 1 because we actually have an adapter now and some struts, which certainly help with the stability of the craft. I mean, last time it kind of behaved a bit like a noodle, as things in KSP tend to do. This time we actually went for a much higher apoapsis because we wanted to test our skipper engine. We have to just lug it up to 190 kilometers and be on a suborbital trajectory. So we didn't decouple as early, and yeah, because we actually unlocked the node now, so we just need to get rid of the contract. I did want to go to Minmus actually, but there was just so much more science to get around the moon, and also we didn't have a single contract for Minmus. So it just wasn't economically viable at all to go to Minmus because we would have lost money. I mean, I guess we wouldn't have lost a huge amount of money, but there was still so much more science to get around the moon. It just made more sense to go back to the moon, and I guess we'll go to Minmus next turn. Although I do really want to do some kind of docking operation. That still sounds wrong, doesn't it? Some kind of docking thing with Tape. That would be pretty cool. Obviously I won't put a Kerbal in it because I'll have to leave it up there for quite a while. So it would just be a little probe with a docking port on it. And, you know, just a bit of collaboration between space agencies. I think that's pretty cool. This time we used a bit more of our fuel because obviously we went for our higher apoapsis. So we actually used the LV909. And also, since we had to shift our... obviously we had to shift our inclination to go to all the different temperature sites and stuff, which thankfully it was above certain altitudes, not below, so it could be as high up as we wanted. We did use a pretty decent portion of the LV909, well, not the LV, I guess, we did use a pretty decent portion of the fuel. So thank goodness we actually have the LV909, because it is just so efficient. We got a lot of Delta V out of it, and we used pretty much all of it. I keep posing for beauty shots, just because, oh, the lens flare, man, the lens flare is so pretty. It's so pretty. Just look at that lens flare. It's just so beautiful. Yeah, and I kept going for EVA reports over all the different biomes, and eventually I decided, you know what? Maybe we should just go over every single biome. And I don't call that science spam, because I did go here with the specific intention of getting science around the moon. Now, I should have changed the inclination while I was at the edge of the moon's sphere of influence. That's why it's most efficient. But, I mean, we had so much Delta V, it really didn't matter. So we just did a massive inclination change into polar orbit so we could go over our temperature scan areas, which is what's paying for this mission. And also so we could actually go over all the biomes. I think we went over all but like 1 or 2 of them. So we were orbiting for quite a while, just getting out when Science Alert popped up. So Science Alert is so useful. I think Tape really should get it, because it does give me a pretty big advantage. But there we go, that was our last biome. Well, if it wasn't, I couldn't be bothered to keep going over. And yeah, well, I did pack a lot more life support onto this one. Pioneer 1, I found that we couldn't have gone to Minmus with it, because we didn't have enough waste storage. We had more than enough food and stuff, but Valentina very nearly died of carbon dioxide poisoning. Like, our scrubbers were almost saturated. Seriously, she almost died. So this time I got rid of some of the life support supplies and I replaced them with waste containers. So she can actually stay in space for, I think, about 2 weeks. So about just over 12 days, I think it is. But anyway, so just coming back. Obviously, we don't have a free return this time because we went into orbit, so we could get loads and loads of science. And we did get a hell of a lot of science from that. So that will give Tape a run for his money, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so this craft now, we've proven it worthy of going to Minmus. So next turn, I'm pretty sure, launch a docking thing and go to Minmus, launch a mission. We could probably pack a hell of a lot more stuff onto it since we know just how much fuel it actually has. So we could probably add maybe another materials bay. The main problem is bring them back down again, because another materials bay adds a hell of a lot more weight. And, well, weight is something you don't want when you're re-entering, and also when you have to land. I was worried about the weight of this, what with the service bay full of scientific instruments and, you know, the materials bay and stuff, but we had 5 parachutes, so it was actually, it was all right. I don't know, maybe we'll add another one, I'm not sure, but we might just have to do a couple of missions to Minmus like we did a couple of missions to the moon today. But that's pretty much it for the Pioneer program. I don't think we can really do any more flybys, considering there's no more science to get from orbit. We literally got all of it. 418.6 science. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Oh yeah, all of these EVA reports, just nothing but EVA reports, just drowning in EVA reports. But damn, that's a lot of, that's twice as much as we got last time. That's pretty awesome. I'm not going to say that's science ban, because it's not. We just went into a polar orbit with the express intention of getting EVA reports over all the different biomes, and that's exactly what we did. So yeah, we actually got quite a lot of money back from recovered parts, and Val got a bit more XP, and we got a lot of reputation actually. There we go, and now we can do surface samples. Yay, and also resource transfer. So that's all nice. Okay, so yeah, let's get this one, and then let's get the docking ports. Because I'm gonna ask Tape about that, actually, whether he wants to do that, because that would be pretty cool. Do we need any of this stuff yet? No, we don't need any of that stuff. Okay, so what are we going to be doing next time? Probably going to Minmus and doing more docking, so we don't need any landing stuff. That's for sure. No landing stuff. Saying that, we might need bigger capsules. That's a big thing. Yeah, bigger capsules, and now we can't afford anything else. So there we go! That has been turn 2, month 3 of Kerbal Space Race. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all next time.